Today we will tell the story of Zipporah, found in the book of Exodus, chapters 2 and 4. May the word of God reach our hearts as a source of inspiration for our lives. Raised as a prince in Pharaoh's palace, Moses grew up among the luxuries and splendors of Egypt, protected by the affection and care of the king's own daughter. But as the years went by, a growing restlessness took hold of his heart, a feeling of belonging to a suffering and oppressed people. On an ordinary day, Moses decided to explore the surroundings outside the golden walls of the palace. When he encountered the Hebrew workers, he saw the cruelty with which they were treated, the chains of slavery weighing heavy on their stooped shoulders. His blood boiled at the injustice. It was then that he witnessed an episode of unacceptable violence, an Egyptian brutally attacking one of his own. Without hesitation, driven by an unstoppable impulse, Moses intervened. His fists rose in a decisive blow, and the oppressor fell silent, overcome by the power of justice. But the shadow of death loomed over Moses, and the weight of his thoughtless act soon made itself felt. The next morning, while trying to intervene in a fight between two Hebrews, his own words were turned against him. Fear and mistrust echoed in the voices of the oppressed, accusing him of being a murderer, a disguised tyrant. The weight of destiny began to be felt on the shoulders of the young prince, throwing him into a whirlwind of uncertainties and moral dilemmas. Moses, with his heart racing from the hasty escape from his homeland, found himself facing the ruthless vastness of the desert. Each step was a desperate flight, each shadow a possible pursuer. But even in the arid vastness, providence wove its invisible threads. Thus Moses, exiled and cornered by the shadow of death, arrived in the serene Midian, an oasis amid the scorching loneliness of the desert. There, among rocks and golden sands, stood a well, a symbol of life and hope for those seeking relief from the blazing thirst. By this well, Moses encountered 7 young, graceful shepherdesses who, with their pitchers, sought relief for their flock's thirst. But the tranquility of the scene was interrupted by the commotion of neighboring shepherds, brutal and arrogant, who dared to disturb the maiden's peace. Like a bolt of lightning, Moses moved to protect the young women, challenging the intruders with his impetuous courage. Fists clenched, determination in his eyes, he stood as a vigilant guardian, a defender of the oppressed against the lords of injustice. With the same strength he faced the attackers, Moses offered his help to the young shepherdesses, sharing the weight of the amphorae and easing the burden of their daily tasks. Thus, amid shy and grateful smiles, an unlikely alliance was born in the desert heat, where Moses found not only refuge but also a new purpose for his uncertain journey. Upon their return home, Jethro's daughters could barely contain the excitement in their hearts. Running through the golden sands of the desert, they eagerly shared with their father the extraordinary encounter they had at the well. Surprised by the young women's quick return, Jethro listened attentively as they described the enigmatic stranger who had protected them from the violence of the shepherds. His eyes lit up with interest when he heard about the kind act of the unknown man. "Where is he now? How could you leave him at the well?" exclaimed Jethro, perplexed by the idea of leaving such a generous stranger behind. Without wasting time, he ordered his daughters, "Go and fetch him. Invite him to share a meal with us." Thus, amidst smiles and gestures of gratitude, Moses was brought to Jethro's house, where he was welcomed with warm hospitality. There, amidst conversations around the fire and simple feasts, Moses found not only shelter, but also a home and a new family. Over time, the bond between Moses and Jethro's family flourished, culminating in a marriage between Moses and Zipporah, one of Jethro's daughters. United by love and faith, they built a life together, sharing joys and challenges as they walked side by side through the paths of the desert. And from this blessed union, 2 sons were born, witnesses to the extraordinary destiny that awaited the man who had once been just a fugitive in the desert. This is the second part of a 13-part series, where we will tell the biblical story of Moses and the Exodus. Stay with us so you don't miss the next chapters of this story so important to all of us. If you are not yet subscribed to our channel, click the subscribe button and be part of our community. Don't forget to comment, leave a like, and click on the notification bell. Your presence and participation here are very important to us. And if you missed the previous episodes, we have a complete playlist with all the videos in chronological order. Today I want to leave you with a verse that is found in the book of Exodus, chapter 2, verses 11 and 12. One day, when Moses had grown up, he went out to where his own people were and watched them at their hard labor. He saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his own people. Looking this way and that and seeing no one, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. May God's presence be a constant in your life, bringing blessings, joy, and love. God bless you.